Shedding light on tough issues is never easy as a parent, nor is sitting down to start that conversation.
Infants as early as 6 months really can begin to detect, sort of racial differences.
Dr. Sarav Gupta is a psychiatrist at Oshai Children's Hospital and UB. He says kids are sponges, so be prepared to have a conversation as young as 2.
Sometimes it's really just about asking questions of them, helping, yourself as a parent understand how they're viewing the world.
Sengupta says take the lead and start the conversation.
Let's talk about it as, how much melanin people have in their skin, and that if you have more melanin, you usually have darker skin and darker hair.
Then you can ask this question: should people be treated differently based on the color of their skin? Sengupta says children are interested in fairness and most kids will say no. He says that initiates a space for other conversations. As a father of multiracial children, he has found it's critical to ask them about the media they're watching.
What do you think about this character? What do you think about that? Sometimes in being a little bit curious, we can find out really, I'll be frank, sometimes challenging things about how our kids are already viewing the world.
And if they have those challenging views,
Here's another way we can look at it. Here's another action that we can take that'll, get us moving in a better direction and connecting with other people of all different types.
he teaches his children to be upstanders.
How to be a good friend, frankly, to someone who looks different or, is coming from a different cultural background.
And now let's talk about bullying. It is bound to happen, especially in school. This is where Desiree Williams, a school psychologist for Buffalo Public Schools, comes in. She says it starts with an intentional and direct conversation.
They should receive a consequence at home that's followed through to really drive home the idea that that type of behavior is not accepted.
And ask your student where that prejudice may come from. When it comes to racial trauma, Williams says for younger children, focus on the helpers like police or their teachers and emphasize safety for older kids.
And honestly, make sure that you are able to dispel any false information that they may have heard. And also for them, focus on that aspect of safety.
And overall, keep tabs on their well-being and watch for any behavioral changes. For example, excessive sleep, eating less.
Not really spending time with friends like they used to.
Williams says thankfully issues in the classroom regarding race are far and few in between at her school. The issues she's dealing with a lot are relational and stem from outside of the classroom. So how do you manage that?
You're engaged, you are talking to your child, that you are a safe space.
Sengupta says as tough as these conversations may be, get used to being uncomfortable.
These conversations are not an option for many families. It's just a matter of safety and survival. Yeah. And for me to make a choice on whether I have these conversations or not, I mean, in some ways that is a form of privilege, but I try to flip around and say, well, then I think it's our responsibility as parents to make sure that we're having these conversations.